Saturday, October 23rd, 2021. Today marks the first weekend of the year that I've encountered writer's block. The other 40 some odd weekends consisted of free-flowing ideas, endless creativity, and an unbreakable determination to succeed. I don't know what made today any different. I feel disinterested and frustrated by my lack of perseverance. Even writing in my journal right now feels like a chore, and I hate chores. It's funny because, in my mind, I know the proper solution to my problem, but this constant urge to procrastinate holds me back from taking my own advice. Hopefully tomorrow will be a better day. This is a video for procrastinators. For a large majority of my teen years and later into my 20s, I have been, for as long as I can remember, a chronic procrastinator. School assignments were always written the night before at midnight. Studying for exams became a caffeine-powered marathon of all-nighters. And even birthday presents for the most important people in my life were purchased, you guessed it, the day before with expedited shipping. Over and over again, this pattern persisted throughout my life. It didn't matter if I had a week, a month, or even a year to get something done. That burning desire of urgency never showed up until it was almost too late. If any of this sounds remotely familiar to you, maybe there's an explanation for why we leave everything until the last minute. Now, when it comes to procrastination, ever since my teen years, I've always been a last-minute type of guy. And for whatever reason, I just thought that naturally I just wasn't a very disciplined person, and that this was some type of personality trait that I was born with. Of course, my opinion on this has changed over time. Instead of believing in luck and circumstance, I started to view my life through the lens of cause and effect. When you do this, you'll soon realize that procrastination is caused by your habits and decisions, and not by some predetermined factor. Okay, so what is the root cause of procrastination? I've been spending a lot of time thinking about this question, and what I really noticed about myself was that whenever I had a task that I disliked, whether it was taking out the garbage, getting an oil change for my car, or even just like having to wash the dishes, my inner urge to procrastinate would just come to the surface and distract me from the task at hand. The reason for this is that our brains just don't want us to do uncomfortable things, and we're just met with this imaginary wall of resistance, where it becomes extremely difficult to break through that wall and just finish the tasks that we're supposed to do. So instead, we back down and we give into that resistance, which leads us to the road of the procrastinator. I think I've mentioned this in a previous video somewhere, but I can't remember which one. But there is a great book that goes into detail on how to overcome this resistance, and it's called The War of Art by Steven Pressfield. When I think about it, I should probably go out and buy the book, as this was one of the very first books that I read, which got me into this whole self-development niche. Now, I do have the ebook somewhere. It's probably on my phone or computer. I'm not entirely sure. But it is definitely worth reading if you need some ideas on how to overcome resistance and procrastination. Okay, so let's talk about progress. Now, I've definitely come a long way when it comes to battling my inner demons of procrastination. You know, this is just a problem that I've had to deal with for many years of my life, and I'm probably going to have to continue that fight for many more. The reason that I say this is because I think a lot of people, and this is myself included, have this problem of seeking out one-time solutions for lifelong problems, instead of accepting the fact that overcoming procrastination is simply just a part of life, and a problem that doesn't have a singular solution. When I finally accepted this fact, I began to make incremental progress in my life. I stopped searching for all the perfect morning routine that could just end all procrastination or just, fix my life. And I started to figure out ways to manage my procrastinating tendencies rather than finding ways to destroy them. Again, the solutions for these problems are going to vary wildly. However, what I really noticed about myself was that a lot of these tasks that I continually procrastinated on were things that I just didn't care about. When I was in school, I could care less about the periodic table or my chemistry homework. So when it came time to study or finish my lab report that was due on Monday, there was just no sense of urgency in my mind to get it done. I simply didn't care, so it was easy for procrastination to take over. But when it came to things that I cared about, like working out or exercising, for example, I found it a lot easier to overcome that procrastination, like whenever I missed a workout, because I cared about my physical health and well-being. So it was just like way easier to overcome that resistance of putting on my workout clothes and driving to the gym. Eventually, there was this epiphany moment that I had where I started to just piece together my reoccurring issues that I had with procrastination. And what I realized was the greater the resistance I faced, the greater importance that task had. So, in the example of my chemistry homework, that task could be the difference between getting a passing grade and being accepted into university, or failing the course and having to stay back another year in summer school. So, the ramifications of a decision with greater resistance can just be life altering. And this is where you really need to take your life seriously and figure out what is truly important in your life that you can't afford to just continually procrastinate on. Of course, these are all great concepts in theory, but does any of this stuff have any practical use? Because look, at the end of the day, you can watch these YouTube videos about procrastination all night long, but if none of them causes a change in your behavior, then what is the point of all this? The point is that deep down at our core, I believe that all of us have some level of the procrastinator in our lives. Regardless of how severe or insignificant your procrastination might be, the good news is that you can always get better at it and reduce its effects on your life with effort and time. The way I went about doing this was, I tried to find the cues in my life that would trigger these excessive amounts of procrastination and figure out a way to just reduce those cues as much as possible. So for example, when it comes to reading, writing, or even just editing these YouTube videos, I have to be in a room that doesn't have a TV because it was just way too easy to shift my attention from my boring laptop screen over to the more entertaining TV screen. So by removing the cue, in this case the room with the TV, the trigger action to procrastinate, it just wouldn't occur as often. What eventually happened was, I removed as many of these cues from my office as possible, and I created a positive environment for my work. In addition to no televisions, I deleted all the video games from my computer. These were just way too accessible and easy for me to take my attention away from my work. And then I took my phone charger and put it on a table that was below my desk so that it was outside of my line of sight. And then after that, I always kept my door closed, and I even put a curtain over my window so that I couldn't see outside. I know this seems a little bit obsessive and borderline crazy, but I think if you're serious about controlling your urges to procrastinate, then you need to make serious changes to your environment. Because even in my case, this is something that I've struggled with for so long and I still have issues with today. And even in my current office setup now that I just described, I had insane writer's block this past weekend, and it just didn't matter what I did or how hard I tried. The urge to procrastinate was so overpowering that I just couldn't get anything done. To be perfectly honest, this is a huge part of life. Nothing is going to be perfect. Things won't always work out for you. And no matter what you do, you're always going to be faced with some form of procrastination or adversity that will just derail you from your goals. But if you can figure out a way to have more good days than bad ones, and create this environment which minimizes the cues that trigger the effects of the procrastinator, then hopefully by taking action today, you can reduce the amount of times you leave things for tomorrow. Or maybe you'll get around to doing it eventually. Thanks for watching.